killed. We're turning our attention on the show today to politics in Benue State, where the People's Democratic Party in the state is calling on the governor to resolve the issue of insecurity and to provide necessary logistics and material support to security agencies to fight the worsening insecurity in that part of the country. The party, in a statement issued by its publicity secretary, has condemned the killings in some local government areas of the state. Meanwhile, Governor Alia has warned those defaming the state to desist or face the consequences of their actions, adding that no one should be under the illusion that the APC in Benue was divided. The governor, who was speaking at the Government House, Makurdi, added that the APC in Benue is indeed together.
It is important for us to know that the state is even taking some further steps on the front lines of security. Before next month, we are going to launch a security outfit that will bring up to 10,000 of our dear people who love the state under my leadership as a man of growth and development. Not only APC, but the entire Benue must be developed.
Alia, Governor of Benue State there. For more on this development, People's Democratic Party Publicity Secretary in Benue State, Bengba Yotam, joins me live from our Abuja studio. Mr. Yotam, thank you for joining us on the program. We'll talk about the governor shortly, but let's begin with the state of affairs within your party. The PDP in Benue, they say, hasn't remained the same after it lost the governorship election last year. How's the party adjusting now from being an incumbent to playing the role of opposition in Benue?
Yeah, thank you for having me in your studios. Yes, it's a normal thing for us in the PDP, Benue State, to be once again occupying the station of the opposition party in Benue State. We were in the same position in 2015 when we lost the elections to the same APC that is on seat today. And we had rebounded back. We had put our acts together between 2015 2018. We were so strong and our platform was so attractive that the then governor, now immediate past governor, Samuel Ortom, left the APC and joined us. It was, of course, it was a reunion. He had been a member of the party before. So for us in the PDP, having lost the 2023 elections, we are back to the drawing board. We looked at where things went wrong. Our leaders, a college of leaders led by the immediate past governor of the state, Samuel Ortom, the minority leader of the Senate, Comrade Patrick Abamoro, former governor of Benue State, and former Senator Gabriel Suswam, former Senate President David Mark, and a host of others have been together, putting their heads together, and we've had a series of meetings, and we've resolved to move forward. And we are putting our acts together. We are looking forward to embarking on the congresses to put in place structures to man the affairs of the party at the ward, the local government, the state, and the zonal level in the North Central. So basically, we are taking things in our stride. That's where we are presently in the PDP in Benue State.
You talked about how Samuel Ortom left the APC to the PDP, and he was one of the 3 D5 members who lost their bids to be elected to the Senate last year. With the benefit of hindsight, would you say the former governor's anti-party decision is responsible for where PDP is today in Benue?
Well, I would prefer that the phrase anti-party be used in this context. in a sense, in a particular sense. Samuel Ortom, while he was the governor of Benue State, had made it very clear in the run-up to the 2023 elections that he held certain ideals and principles sacrosanct and above affiliation or loyalty to the political party. And for those who were under his leadership, amongst whom I was, we understood that what he meant essentially was that there should be a loyalty first and foremost to the Nigerian Federation. Before under that, we may have loyalty to subsets and subgroups. In this case, the political party that we belong to. And essentially, he had made it very clear that he held the idea of equity and fairness in where the presidency of the country went in 2023. He was of the firm belief that it was just and equitable for the presidency of Nigeria to revert down south, having been domiciled in the north for 8 years. And he had also made it very clear that he was willing to sacrifice his senatorial ambition to be able to achieve that. So we who believed in him, who followed him, saw it as a duty to the Nigerian nation. And it wasn't therefore a shock, or it wasn't a loss per se when he lost his senatorial bid in 2023. It was a sacrifice that he made. And thereafter, he has made it clear that, yeah, he has a sense of satisfaction that the presidency is domiciled in the south of Nigeria now.
Absolutely. And they say the former governor still, plays a big role within the party. But there are conversations on whether or not he's taking the PDP in Benue away from the mainstream party, because he, alongside other members of the G5, said earlier this year that they will support President Tinubu in 2027. That's coming 3 years before the next election. Is that a position the PDP in Benue supports?
Well, let me firstly situate it from a messaging perspective that as at the time, within the circumstances that Samuel Ortom had made that remark, there was a political motivation behind it. We had an issue that was on the table, and in the course of politicking towards an objective, which in this case I'm talking about the tribunal case, we had at that time the governorship petition that we had taken before the courts. It was still pending at the Supreme Court. And when he said that, it was essentially in the cause of politicking towards an objective. That is not to say that he was heading towards anything that was negative, but then he had made that statement. But thereafter, he has buttressed it at the stakeholders meeting of the party that we held in Makurdi. He made it clear to the party leaders and followers that he still stands on the basic premise that the presidency should be in the South for a period of 8 years for us to have equity and fairness. And so if he had not explained at that particular moment in time when he made that statement in Port Harcourt, he made it clear to us that in the event that there is an arrangement within the PDP in 2027 to shortchange the South, he will very likely toe the same line that he had toed in 2023. So let's understand it within that context.
Well, we're going to get some more clarity to that in a minute. Let's take a short break, and we'll be back. Stay with us, everyone. Well, we're counting down to May 29, the first year anniversary of the President Bola Tinubu administration, and we'll be exploring how well it's done vis-a-vis his renewed hope campaign in the coming days. But I'm joined by PDP Publicity Secretary in Benue State, Benue, Yotam. So Yotam, thank you for staying the course on the program. So let's just tidy that up so we can move to other things. I get, your interpretation of what you think Mr. Otom said, but the bottom line is that the G5 is saying they're going to support President Tinubu in 3 years' time. So my question is very direct. Are you saying that the PDP Benue will work for President Tinubu in 2027?
The PDP in Benue is under leaders, and topmost amongst whom is the immediate past governor of Benue State, His Excellency Samuel Ortom. He had said in Port Harcourt, like you earlier pointed out, that they will be working for the Tinubu presidency in 2027. And I also now informed you that when he came back to Benue State at the meeting of the stakeholders of the party, he had made it clear to us, he had buttressed it to us, that his position as aired in Port Harcourt was essentially that if in 2027 the PDP fails to toe the line of fairness and equity as he describes his position regarding the presidency going down south, then he will very likely be towing the same line that he had towed in 2023. And to that extent, because everywhere, political parties and political camps are led or run in an arrangement that leaders go and then followers come behind them. If this, by the reasons that I have pointed out here, turns out to be the position that confronts us in 2027, then very likely the PDP in Benue State will be following its leaders in the direction that they will tow.
Very interesting, and I like the way you've answered it. By the way, Samuel Ortom recently said the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, George Akume, remains the indisputable leader in Benue, and that's a far departure from what seemed a supremacy battle between both men. Recall that we saw Tom sue Akume for libel a few years ago. So it seems alliances are changing, and it's a complicated one in Benue. If you, bring to mind also that the former governor himself was a member of the APC before the campaign to the PDP. But let's discuss local politics in Benue. Your party has heavily criticized the Hyacinth Alia administration in Benue on many fronts. But help us understand what you meant by alleging that the governor's actions and resurgence of may have inspired the resurgence of thuggery in the polity.
Well, it's straightforward. If you have been following events in Benue State, then you will understand that the governor of Benue State, His Excellency Hyacinth Alia, has left much to be desired by his recent utterances and actions in the public domain. The latest of which was a very unfortunate, piece of speech he made back in his Jechura locality recently, when he said that at the 1 year mark of his administration, he will no longer be tolerating what he termed pointing of fingers at his administration. We really didn't understand what he meant by that. But then when you take it down, you will understand that he's referring to critics. And he had said on that particular occasion that they have raised a finger to the face of his administration. So far, he hasn't beaten it. They have spat in his face. He hasn't reacted, but at this point going forward, anyone raising a finger to his administration should contemplate firstly if such a finger would not be coming back as half a finger or no finger at all. That shouldn't be coming from a state governor. That is unbecoming of the status of a state governor. A governor does not threaten violence against people. A governor does not threaten dire consequences against people in such banal terms. And
So
yeah.
you don't think that that's perhaps an erroneous way of interpreting what the governor said? I mean, he's a reverend father, for crying out loud. Does he have a track record of violence that makes the PDP wants to interpret his message the way you have just interpreted it?
He hadn't any track record even before he became governor that we should appreciate him properly about. When he was running for governor and we were running against him, we had pointed to the fact that he didn't have a track record as we should really be basing our choice of him on. And so when you ask that question, we didn't know much about him. He has been a Catholic priest for 30 years plus, all this while. But then, within this period that he has been governor, he has taken a number of steps that indicate that he has a propensity for violence. I'm being very blunt about that. Let's look at some of the incidents that took place in the course of the infighting within the APC in Benue State that he has instigated. He has instigated this infighting within the APC, and some of us, of course, in the PDP, we understand that he needs a smoke screen to cover his glaring failures. But while this crisis in the APC has been ongoing, he has taken steps which indicate clearly that he wouldn't flinch at deploying mob rule, at deploying thugs, at deploying street, miscreants. We have instances where the governor himself has stood.
These are huge allegations you're making against the governor. I said you're making huge allegations against the governor. I hope you have evidence.
I'm pointing to instances. I'm pointing to instances. The governor himself had stood on the streets and addressed people in the lead up to a particular incident which took place when the executive director of finance at the Federal Housing Authority, Dr. Matthias Buan, was to go and address stakeholders of the APC. And on that particular day, people had come out, people whom the governor had addressed a while ago, went on the street and stopped the meeting from holding at the APC State Secretariat. Thereafter, on a number of occasions, the same manner of people, the same kind of people have always shown up at the APC State Secretariat whenever they say they want to have a meeting there. We are aware that the governor himself, the governor has a parallel secretariat where he also goes to. Like when he came back from the United States of America recently, the first point of call was that parallel secretariat of his. He went there.
Let us talk about, just a minute, let us talk about the issue of insecurity that you've also made reference to. So recently, by the way, the governor, has openly disagreed with all of the comments, all of the positions you've taken, because I heard him recently saying that, I had some of his party members, but you recall that the APC had a meeting recently where they said the issues within the party had nothing to do with the state governor, and that position of his is clear, right? But he also recently did say that his administration is ready to launch a local security outfit, which according to him will be employing about 10,000 young people to complement the conventional security agencies in tackling security challenges bedeviling the state. How's the PDP reacting to that, bearing in mind that the former governor had a similar outfit in the name of Benue volunteer guards, right?
That promise or declaration of the governor with a pinch of salt, and this is not baseless for the fact that he is known for making promises that he never keeps. While he was campaigning, he made a lot of superfluous promises. According to him, he was going to return IDPs back to their homes in 100 days. He has not done that, of course. He was going to end insecurity in the state within record time. He hasn't done that. If anything, insecurity in the state is worse than when he inherited it. Now, he's talking about raising a 10,000 man strong security outfit. And we ask, how did you handle the ones that you inherited? What is the effect of whatever measure at all that you might have taken regarding the security situation in the state? As it stands now, we have a record influx of herdsmen in Benue State and their cattle. in our rural areas. This is the planting season. Our people can go to the farms. He says that he has tackled insecurity in the state to a point that all you have in the state now are just minor skirmishes. And we ask, how have you been able to do that, Mr. Governor? You, at a point, had to accept that the volume of herdsmen and their cattle in the state was alarming, and he issued a 14-day ultimatum. At the end of that 14-day, nothing happened. He said he had given an order to security agencies to flush them out. How were they going to do that? His is the first administration that has not given logistic support to security agencies. They said, we kept on saying this. We have always said this. Provide logistic support to security agencies in the state. All previous administrations did this. They provide vehicles, they provide communication gadgets to the security agencies in the state to strengthen their hand in the fight against it. He has not done that. And then today, he's talking about raising a 10,000-man strong...
I'm afraid we have completely run out of time. And I can tell that you have asked some really tough questions targeted towards the Alia administration. We're going to reach out to Governor Alia himself. Hopefully he can join us on the program, and then we can get a side of his story. But that's our time. PDP Publicity Secretary in Benue State, Bangba Yotam, thank you so much for talking to us on the program this evening.
You're welcome. Thank you, Tom.
And that's our program, everyone.